Hello everyone, thanks for tuning into today's second video, doing European outlook for today's second video. So as always on a Thursday, we're having a look at the weather for next week, 10 days across Europe, and I shall get on that for you in a moment. Just say that first video release today was our 6 AM UK weather forecast, and there's a 10 to 14 day with all of the regular features coming up for you later on today as well. Please like, share and subscribe on all of today's videos and content, and thank you so much everybody for doing that. Okay, we're going to start off the situation across Europe today. So a deep trough of low pressure is in over Scandinavia, along with some pretty cold air. A ridge of high pressure out in the Atlantic, keeping much of Western Europe mild or very mild, with winds coming in from off the Atlantic Ocean. Upper air temperatures are cold across Northern Europe still, so most parts of Scandinavia, Nordic regions, and into Baltic Sea states looking cold. Cold air just getting into the far north of Scotland, but otherwise much of Western Europe looking pretty mild, particularly France, Spain, Portugal, into the Low Countries, and into Germany as well. And then much of Southern and South East Europe also quite mild, with those upper air temperatures today as well. A band of heavy rain pushing eastwards through Germany into Poland, and that could well be turned to snow as it moves northwards into southern parts of Sweden in particular, and heading towards both Baltic Sea states of Latvia, Estonia and Lithuania. But out to the west, we've got showery conditions into the UK and Ireland, and some showers coming into northern parts of France as well, but a lot of dry weather down through Spain, Portugal, and into central Bowl of Med. Also, southeast Europe through the Balkans, the Black Sea, we can generally dry through there. Some heavy showers towards the far east of Greece and up towards Turkey, perhaps. And temperature-wise, well, we've got some very cold air, as say, sitting across northern and northeastern Europe, but otherwise it's a relatively mild scene, particularly for most of these western regions. Tomorrow, Friday, keeps that trough of low pressure going over the north and northeast Europe, so remain cold and wintry there. Otherwise, it's a milder scene through most places, with winds still coming in from off the Atlantic, courtesy of the Azores. High upper air temperatures are still looking cold across much of northern Europe. That cold air digging a bit further southward, so Germany turning colder. And also you see Poland turning colder as well, even into some western parts of the Ukraine. I should say eastern Germany turns colder, and Poland turns colder, and also eastern parts, western parts, should say, of Ukraine. Get me west mixed up. Up to the north, well, still very cold, wintry up there for Scandinavia and the Baltic Sea regions, but through the central western part of the Med and up the west side of Europe looks generally quite mild. Precipitation-wise, so we'll have snow here through the Baltic Sea states, Latvia, Estonia, Lithuania, moving northwards up towards Finland as well. Snow clearing eastern parts of Sweden, and then we have a mix of wintry showers or snow showers into Norway. Heavy rain continue to move eastwards from Germany in towards Poland, so that can start to turn to snow as well as that colder air digs in. Some heavy showers of thunderstorms into the eastern part of Mediterranean, most central western regions of Med, main dry, and up west side Europe through France, the UK and Ireland. Here we have quite a bit of dry weather, but there will be further wet weather coming into the far north. And temperature-wise, well, again, very, very cold across the north of Europe, but otherwise milder out west. Cold air digging into the central and eastern portions of Europe, perhaps. That takes us through to Saturday, where we've got high pressure again from the Azores, ridging into the Bay of Biscay and France. Low pressure out in the Atlantic. Winds still coming up from that westerly direction, bringing mild air into western Europe. Meanwhile, northern, northeastern Europe, under that trough of low pressure, remaining cold. Upper air temperature continues to look cold in the north and the east of the northeast of Europe, but much milder out west, and really quite warm down across the central portion of the Med. Outbreaks of heavy and persistent rain from the Atlantic in towards Scotland. Some wet weather through Germany and into Poland. Again, that could be a mix of rain, sleet and snow, particularly to the north and east of this band of rain. And then, of course, we've got snow showers up here across the far north and northeast Europe. Most southern and western regions looking mainly dry, though. On Saturday, very mild again, pretty much as southern and western Europe, colder in the north and the east. Sunday, Christmas Eve, keeps the broad setup going. Low pressure to the north of the UK and Ireland. High pressure down towards France, Spain, Portugal. Winds remain from a westerly direction. Another trough of low, or a trough of low, still sitting across the northeast, keeping the north and northeast Europe under cold air. So that's where it is going to be cold Christmas this year, much of Scandinavia and Nordic regions, into the Baltic Sea states as well, and down towards Ukraine, Black Sea, and into far east of Poland too. Cold Christmas Eve through there. Meanwhile, out to west, it's much mild. Look at these mild upper air temperatures pumping in off the Atlantic into Ireland, the UK, which is France, Spain, Portugal, and the Med looking really quite warm as well. Mostly dry for Med, so if you want a bit of Christmas sunshine, head down to maybe one of the Balearic Islands or Malta, of course, to just Sardinia. I reckon temperatures will be into at least the mid to upper teens Celsius. And with back to sunshine, really will be very, very pleasant indeed down there if you fancy a bit of Christmas sunshine. Further northwards, where I've got outbreaks of rain here coming into UK and Ireland again. Further showers, long spells of rain through the low country into Germany. And then, of course, we get snow as we push northwards in towards Norway and southern parts of Sweden. Remaining very cold there across most parts of northern and northeastern Europe too. That's where it will be a cold Christmas. And then out west, well, very mild. It really will be a very, very mild Christmas Eve for much of Ireland, the UK, and western parts of France in particular. Christmas Day, we'll see low pressure remaining, which is Monday, sees low pressure remaining across Scandinavia, so cold and wintry bare winds coming in. That's what it's like cooler, fresh northwest direction into the UK and Ireland as the ridge down south just begins to ease back a little bit. So cold across much of northern Europe, but the cold begins to retreat from southern parts of Scandinavia. So Denmark gets a bit milder, as does southern Norway and Sweden, but most parts of Scandinavia, certainly all of Finland, and many of the Baltic Sea states and into western Russia looking cold there on Christmas Day. Otherwise, though, it's a mild scene in many areas, where some cold air just begin to trickle back in towards Scotland. Precipitation-wise, we have a band of rain coming southwards through the UK, so that will be mostly light and patchy, I think, introducing that cooler air to the north. Snow showers, no flow as possible through Scandinavia, and then many other parts of Europe looking mainly dry on Christmas Day. And again, it's a milder or warm scene down through the Mediterranean in particular, and mild generally for much of Western Europe, but the coldest of the air is across the far north and northeast of Europe once again. Through to Tuesday, we find again that Scandinavia and the northeast remains cold under that trough of low pressure. Meanwhile, a ridge starting to build, or try to build, out across western parts of Europe. A little bit cool with those upper air temperatures generally across Western Europe, so Ireland, the UK, the low countries, Germany, turning a little bit cooler there, but it's still very mild through France, warm down into the Mediterranean as well, and then further northwards, it's still a cold scene across much of northern and northeastern Europe. Precipitation-wise, so further snow here in the far north and northeast, another band of snow heading in towards Norway. Then we have wet weather across northern parts of France. To the south of that, it's mostly dry and very mild, and to the north a bit, it's a little bit cooler and fresh with some showery conditions in Scotland. On the eastern side of Europe, again, quite a bit of dry weather around, really, in many areas, and temperatures looking pretty mild here in the southeast, so again, from the Adriatic to Black Sea, it is a mild scene. Go further northwards, well, it's generally quite mild, but in Western Europe, a little bit cooler through Ireland and the UK, but the proper cold air is still sitting there across the far north and the northeast of Europe once more. Wednesday starts being wet and windy weather back in from off the Atlantic into western parts of Europe, as the cold air to the north and northeast just begins to retreat a little bit, although actually the upper air temperatures are getting colder there across Scandinavia as we go through into Wednesday, so you see a bit of a plummet with the upper air temperatures through Norway, Sweden, and also over Baltic Sea in towards Finland, and also west parts of Russia. But out west, it's mild, wet and windy, with those upper air temperatures looking pretty mild, and down across the southern part of Europe again, looking quite mild through there. Wet, windy through the UK, Ireland and France, so another batch of wind and rain heading in. Otherwise, not a dry weather across many parts of Europe, but we will have been snow showers or longer spells of snow in the far north and northeast. Again, remains bitterly cold in the north and northeast of Europe. Otherwise, a mild scene, particularly in southern and western regions. And then through the Thursday, well, low pressure keeps on coming from off the Atlantic into Western Europe, keeping the unsettled conditions going. High pressure trying to build up towards the Norwegian Sea, but not sure much is going to come of that with the Atlantic so active. Upper air temperatures, well, they're looking very mild again across many southern and southwestern parts of Europe and up through the UK and Ireland too, generally quite mild. The coldest upper air temperatures remain locked in over the north and the northeast of Europe, so it really is Scandinavia and those Nordic regions where they're going to be staying cold up towards the new year. And precipitation, well, there's further wet weather here through the UK, through Ireland, through France, into the Low Countries, Belgium, Netherlands, and also into Germany. That turns to snow as it pushes north into the cold air through the Baltic Sea states of Latvia, Estonia, Lithuania. Further snow falls likely through Sweden and Norway, but mainly dry across many southern parts of Europe, mild in the south, or warm in the south of Europe, and up into the west too. Bitterly cold, though, across the north and the northeast of Europe yet again. I'll just run you on the day 10. So this big area of low pressure will be dominating weather through to the end of next week, but gradually starting to move southeastwards as we go through into the last couple of days of the year. So by New Year's Eve, Sunday 31st, that low pressure is digging south to long projection, possibly starting to allow something a little bit colder to develop across western parts of Europe, and maybe turn a little bit milder in the east and the northeast as we start to pick up a bit more of a southerly wind. Whether that's just a, very slight fluctuation that's only going to last a day or two, or whether it's the start of a long-term change into the new year, remains to be seen, and we'll keep you posted about that. Okay, so that's your European outlook for this week, covering most of Christmas week. I hope you found this video interesting and informative. If you have, please do like, share, and subscribe. Not sure if there'll be a European outlook next week. It's Christmas week, so we normally scale back some of the additional updates, some of the add-on videos during Christmas week. So I'll let everybody know near the time. Anyway, but I might have next week off for the European outlook and just do a 10 to 14 there. But we shall see. In any case, if you're watching this over on the continent, have a fantastic Christmas, and we shall see you again very soon. Whoops, let's get rid of that. We'll see you again very soon. I'll be back shortly for 10 to 14, or later on with 10 to 14 there. Come back for that then. The European outlook, that's up and out, and thanks for watching.